Welcome to session 5 of the Computing at Home series. This week is all about conditional code. But before we begin having fun with conditional code, let's take a look back at our last session, which was all about variables. In that session, you were challenged to change the variables in a piece of text from the Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson. The results of changing the variables can change the rhythm and rhyme of the original text, but it also gives us a different description for the Gruffalo. You can see from all these images of the Gruffalo that just changing a simple variable can completely change the way something looks. We particularly love seeing this image of the all-new Gruffalo from Anwar. You were also challenged to create a self-portrait in the style of Andy Warhol. Here, Pedro really showed how changing the variables can change the way you look, and so did Ellie with this selection of colourful self-portraits. Well done. But that's what variables do. In computing, they allow us to use different pieces of information to get different results. So today, the session is all about conditional code. And whether you know it or not, you actually use the logical thinking of conditional coding all the time. Imagine that you're about to pull back the door handle to go to school, and immediately you see it is raining outside. Logic tells you immediately that in order to get to school without getting wet, you are going to need either a coat or an umbrella. This is a logical decision. It's the same when you're feeling hungry. When you're feeling hungry, you make the logical decision to eat. These decisions are based on if moments. If it is raining, I will bring a coat. If I am hungry, I will eat. These are what we know as conditional statements. People make decisions using conditional logic like this without even thinking about it, but computers have to think about it. Conditional statements allow programmers to use logic in their code, and these if statements can be thought of a bit like a flowchart. So let's have a little bit of a look at how a flowchart works. This flowchart helps you understand what to do in the morning when you wake up. We all begin at the start. When the alarm rings on our phone or alarm clock, we say to ourselves, are we ready to get up yet? And if we're really not ready, we hit the snooze button on the alarm. However, we know that the alarm will ring again, and we must ask ourselves the same question again. Are we ready to get up yet? If we are ready to get up and get out of bed, then we follow the flowchart to the end. Flowcharts, of course, can be a lot of fun. In comics like the Beano, you've probably seen flowcharts to find out if your teacher is an alien or what Beano character you are like. And if you've ever wondered if you were a horse, it's worth looking at this one. Let's take 30 seconds to find out if you were a horse. Start at the beginning and answer yes, no, or maybe. Right, time for a challenge. Let's think back to our very first session where we were all learning about commands. Can you use your skills in commands to make a flowchart explaining how to make a jam sandwich? In this case, we need a conditional code, a decision to make, a question to answer. So your instructions must include these statements. Start, butter the bread, add jam, spread the jam. Have you got enough jam? You'll need a yes or no there. Then you may put the sandwich together and eat your sandwich. Where will the loop be in your conditional code of your flowchart? Pause the video and draw out your flowchart. You could use pencil or paper, Google Drawing, or a Keynote or PowerPoint deck. So how did your flowchart look? Here is mine. Can you see the conditional code? I asked myself, have I got enough jam? And if I decided I didn't, then I had to loop around, spread some more jam on, and ask myself the question again until I was happy to put my sandwich together. These kind of flowcharts can help writers too to make science fiction stories and adventure stories that may have alternative endings. They're a good example of conditional logic. In fact, you may have watched things on television where you have to make decisions at the end of a scene. These are also really good examples of experiencing conditional logic. So let's try challenge number 2. I have written the beginning of a very famous story that you will all know. It is called The Three Little Pigs. You can see the story in Google Classroom or by clicking the link in the description of this video. Your challenge is to write the missing parts of the story and add in some extra options to make the story exciting and make me make a decision. Here's how it begins. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who had grown too big for their house. So they decided to, now the choices are build an extension or build their own house. I think I'll choose build an extension. The 3 little pigs had a big argument about which material to use for their extension. So they decided to use, now, straw or sticks or bricks. I think I'll choose straw. When the extension was finished, a wolf came along. Right, let's just click next page here. There's no other choices. The wolf said, "Little pig, let me come in or I'll blow your house down." So the pig said, "No," or it said, "Come on in." Tricky. Now that's as far as the story goes. So your challenge is to write the next page. Will you choose that the pig said no and draw that page? Or will you choose to make a page where the pig invites the wolf into the house? Whatever you choose, you need to draw that scene. Write a sentence or two to say what is happening and give me 2 choices which will allow me to leave the page and try something new. So maybe the wolf tries to blow the house down and the choices are that he blows it down or maybe he chokes on a bumblebee. Maybe the wolf comes inside the house, you draw the inside of the house, and then you decide a game. Maybe they're playing chess or maybe piggy in the middle. So what game will it be? Pause the video and see if you can write the next scene for the 3 little pigs, draw the picture, and give some choices for your reader. Of course, if we make a different choice to the logical thing, then something different will happen. If it's raining outside and we go out without a coat or an umbrella, we get wet. And if we're hungry and we don't eat, we can get hangry, which is a mixture of hungry and angry. So it's very important that computers make the correct decisions. Otherwise, things could go very wrong. In Swift Playgrounds, we use a combination of our knowledge of loops and if statements when there are several choices to make. So in this session, our character Byte has to collect a gem, toggle a switch and move forwards. So to help Byte, we use if statements. If Byte lands on a gem, collect it. If Byte lands on a switch, toggle it. And this helped Byte to complete the task. So your final challenge is to set yourself your own little Byte assault course. You could set up a course like this. However, let's make it active. If you land on a sock, spin around. If you land on a shoe, hop 5 times. These are just examples, and you can choose your own activities if you land on something. And you don't have to use socks and shoes. You could use anything. The instructions for the assault course must be really clear. And you can send in your assault course as a photograph, as instructions, or as a labeled drawing, or even as a video if you're trying it out. I can't wait to see if you can complete the challenge. Next week, we're exploring types and initializations, where we will use our logic from today to explain why we know we are not a horse. See you next time.